Okay. And I'm part of Aarohi. I have two children of my own. My daughter is 24 and my son is 18. And both of them have been open learners. No school, no college, kind of no degrees, no certificates, and living their own journey and doing lots of different things. My daughter runs a business of her own, but she's into many things. Actually, business is just one part, or entrepreneurship is one part. And my son is totally into football. So that's a little about me. And I have had the fortune of working with many families, many children over the last almost 20 years. And yeah, some of the experiences I think I can share in different ways, not necessarily only talking specifically about people. But yeah, that's been my joyful journey, my wife Aditi's joyful journey. We also have Dwiji from our community. Dwiji, would you like to say a quick hi to the group? Dwiji, you there? Okay.
Unmuting takes a little time. Yeah, my name is Viji. I'm part of the community for about 6 years now. Lost track. I've been an open learner much longer. I have a 13-year-old daughter. We live in Bangalore, and she is less of a community member than I am, I would say, but very much an open learner and self-directed and all that. Looking forward to the conversation. I'm going to be traveling and all that. That's why I'm in a mask and yeah. So I'll be listening, but I'll be off video and muted, of course. Thank you.
Okay. And yeah, thanks Shruti and thanks Yogita for sharing. Others who have just joined in, just use the chat to share which city you are from and what age child. This request is more because a lot of people like to connect with same city people or also connect with people with similar age groups. So that's very natural. So that's fine. Who else is there? Preeti is also there from our community, from Aarohi. Preeti, you want to say hi to the group? And then we can start off.
Hi everybody. This is Preeti. I am a mother of 10 years, I think 3 years old, 10-year-old with Aarohi since 3 years. And yeah, having a good time. It's a good open learning journey for me, basically. Thank you.
Yeah, Preeti and her family is based out of Mumbai.
Yes.
Yeah, just adding that. Okay, so I will take about 5 minutes to quickly just introduce you to the concept of open learning and Aarohi in very brief, just to kind of start the whole thing. And then no presentation, we'll all come on and just discuss. So we will not have too much of formal stuff, I hope. So let me, yeah, I hope you can see my screen. Just give me one moment. Some background screens are also open. Yeah, and once again, a request for others. Please share your name, city, and age or ages of children in the chat so that that's kind of a starter introduction for others to connect with each other. That helps. Yeah. Right. So what is open learning in 2 minutes and what is Aarohi in 1 minute, hopefully. Yeah. So we started our journey about 20 years back or so, asking this question here, what's the purpose of education? And for us, the answer that came out was that it is to live. So education, living, learning kind of are all synonyms to us. And that is how when we looked at it, when we look at it that way, not only it becomes a very joyous journey because it's not about reaching somewhere, but it's about living your life. And then each learner, each child becomes the leader of himself or herself, which they are. Meaning, if I look at a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, they are like fearsome, or not fearsome, sorry. What should we say? Very strong learners, ferocious learners or whatever, right? They're very they're strong leaders of themselves. They know exactly what they want to learn, whether it's to how to walk or talk or, so many things they're learning. So they're born like that. They're born leaders, and that is what we recognize. And if we look at it this way, that I'm the leader of myself, as in the learner or the child or anybody, the leader, then the points that come automatically is, hey, let me learn what I want to learn, how I want to learn. Let me assess myself, good, bad, ugly. Let me chart my own professional journey, and so on. So we don't really necessarily need a system which does it for us. We can do it very much ourselves. And obviously we have people around us, friends, family first, and friends, and so on. And all the co-learners become our journey. What that essentially means is open learning is all about giving responsibility to the learner for their learning. That does not mean that they have to learn alone or only by themselves. Obviously, they can learn from anywhere, from a YouTube video, from a teacher, from whomever they want to. But they are responsible for not just learning, basically living and doing and enjoying. And so that's the whole deal is theirs. Yeah. So that's what open learning to us is, which if you look at in terms of a journey, translates into when a child is very young, the child is possibly looking for a lot of exposure, which they kind of, they gobble up themselves. They go and touch, feel, talk about millions why questions. So they are into that exposure journey when they are very young. As they grow older, they start choosing what they want to explore. So their interest starts coming into play, and they start exploring certain things, not everything. They start saying no to many things and yes many times to many things. And as they grow further older, possibly come into their early teenagers and and teenage years, probably they start, or some even earlier and some later, they start looking at either one or few areas of expertise, and they start deep diving into it. And as they deep dive deeper, they can convert that into a way to even, let's say, make a living, as in earning, not just learning but also earning. So that's kind of the broad progression in an open learning kind, and it's all very natural. Not that once you get into expertise stage you stop exposing yourself, not at all. Even at 50, 54, I get myself exposed to new things almost every day and explore different interests. So the exploration never stops. The expertise is something we kind of keep choosing as we go along. So yeah, that's broadly open learning, primarily driven by the child and obviously aided by families and friends and whosoever is together. And this together word is what brings brings us as Aarohi. We are a community of open learners, so which means we are families who kind of learn together, support each other. We kind of live together. We don't necessarily live in the same place as in city, where somebody's Mumbai, somebody's in Bangalore, somebody's in the Aarohi campus, and so on. So we could be living anywhere, but our home itself is a campus. Each family's home. We consider each other's home as another campus, so I can travel to any other family. We can also travel together to different places. And we also have an Aarohi campus where any community member can travel at any point and be there. So that's the community. So it's all families spread over different parts of the country and doing the journey from different places. Yeah, the world is ours in a way. The world is a resource. The people, places, everything is a resource for us. And that makes open learning so much more beautiful, and we feel blessed because of the abundance. Yeah. I think that's a good point to kind of pause. Let me stop sharing. And some of you have shared in the chat, so thank you very much for that. Others, if you would like, please add your quick introduction in terms of name, city, and ages of your children. And now I would like to invite more people on their videos, first of all, so that we can have a visual connect, and open your mics. Let's start discussing, asking questions, sharing, as well as you can also use chat, but it's nice to talk in voice and videos. So more people, if you can on your videos, that would be super lovely, so that we can connect visually. Yeah, and we can all start chit-chatting, asking questions, sharing. It's all an open floor, so please go ahead. And it's all very informal, so you don't have to worry about what kind of questions am I asking. All questions are great. Okay, so who wants to break the ice with the first thought or a question? Huh? Interesting. Everybody's quiet. Okay. Any question about open learning, about Aarohi? When we say we use the generic term open learning, homeschooling, unschooling, free education, free learning, travel education, to us all are synonyms. So please don't bother about the term. They all can mean anything to anybody. So the term itself does not make, at least in our mind, does not make any difference.
Yes, sir, I have a question.
Super. Please shoot.
Yeah, what is the certification they get and what is the future for them?
Okay.
I mean, sorry, I'm just relating to, general on a normal schooling, it's ICSE or CBSE or something. And they, if I can use the term, a socially acknowledged certification board and maybe educationally acceptable front. So in this case, what is the certification they get and what is the future acceptable a step hold for them for future endurance?
Okay. Sure. Who would like to respond to that? Anybody? Because there could be families already doing open learning, unschooling, homeschooling. You can answer. It's not that you have to be only part of Aarohi community to respond to anybody. So feel free to respond in whichever way and add to the discussion.
Yeah, so I'll just go here. I didn't get the name. The point, the question I understand is that what sort of certification and how, what would be the future in open learning? So, see, this is all very dynamic. It's not that in open learning you can't opt for a particular certificate or you can't go for a particular degree or something. If the need be, if the particular profession or a career needs you to have certified or possess a particular degree or in terms of study that curriculum, you definitely go for that. But there are various other curriculums or various other facets of life or careers or which you can opt for where such degrees may not be required. So just an open thinking about what are the possibilities that we can explore and not necessarily just go by the grind case this we have to do this without knowing the end destination. Like we don't have the goal here and we are just kind of pursuing a particular path. The point is, the idea is to first, if the child or as a family we are aware is what we are seeking, and based on that you draw your own roadmap. How do you wish to go there? That's the only thing. So there is nothing against anything.
Yeah, so sorry, I just be a bit intrusive. So on a normal educational graph, kid would get a certification, ICC, CBSE, whatever, and pursue her own studies. in this case, where there is a challenged child, and they go and we go for this thing. So in the future, in case at certain point, there is an option to go for some higher education. So how would this help, or will this rather be will this actually support her, or be a what do I say? Be a valid course certification. We should help her for a higher studies in case if it is possible, or a professional study, or some professional course if it is not a normal. I don't believe in engineering or
Yeah.
MB,
So can I pause you? Sorry, can we get your good name, please?
Yeah, sure.
Your good name, please.
Yeah, I'm Amit Rai Chaudhary from Jamshedpur.
Amit. Okay. So Amit, first of all, we would be in more detail discussing it between 6 and 7. That is exactly the time we'll talk about coversity and how one can go ahead and live one life and grow into a profession. So the only question that I would like to throw to everybody is that why do we think that certification is necessary to be a professional? Right? If you question that, I'm not saying you answer me. I'm just saying just question that. Why is it necessary? Is it really necessary, as Pranav said, that maybe some few professions require certification? Let's say, for example, doctor. But that's, if you really start counting, it just stops, the list stops at about 10 or 12 professions. The rest of the thousands of professions actually do not require any certification at all. Yeah. So that's the beauty of open learning. Not that those 10, 12 which do require strictly certification by law, open learners cannot do. As Pranav mentioned, that also you can do if you want to, by giving required exams and going into that. But for rest of the professions, the interesting question is, why do we need to go for examination? We need not. If you want to, you go. If you don't want to, you can just develop your skills in that particular area and go ahead. And as I said, I'm not really looking for a reply as to why. I'm just asking you to ask that question. And I'll give one small example. We are about 17 people here. I don't know how many of us are right now doing the profession for which we got a degree. Right? Out of this 17, I'm sure half of us would not be doing that, or maybe even more. And if you look at our spouses and our relatives and friends, we'll start getting a huge percentage is not even doing work related to the profession, the degree. So then what is the point of a degree when we're not going to do something with that degree? In the sense, then, which means that we can do whatever we want to do irrespective of the degree. So whether we should want a degree or not is something we have to decide. Each family has to decide, each child has to decide. And as I said, more detail, we'll talk at 6 o'clock. We'll actually talk about how, if you want to design your own journey of going from your interest and turning it into profession, how one can do that without necessarily running behind degrees and certificate, and doing it basically because you enjoy doing whatever you are doing. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thought. And as I said, we can do a little more discussion on this part maybe at the 6 o'clock, that time chunk.
And just to add, Ratnesh, even if we are pursuing the careers that we are, we have had the degrees or certificates, not necessarily everything that we studied was there. Most of the time we have learned on the job or on, on the field. And most of the studies that we have done had been redundant in a way. So that's also to be factored in. So what
Sure.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm sorry. Can I again?
Yeah, can I request the discussion to happen between 6 to 7, because we have kept 1 hour exclusively for this.
Sure.
Yeah, so let us invite other question. There are so many people here, and since we have kept that 1 hour exclusively for that aspect, the journey from your interest to your profession is something we'll talk about. Yeah. I know it's a very, very juicy topic and a lot of people want to talk about it. That's why we kept 1 hour for it. Yeah, but more questions. Yeah, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm from Mumbai, and I've currently decided to homeschool my 3.5-year-old son. So I have just, decided to homeschool him, but I don't know the journey. I don't know how it's going to be. So that's the reason I've joined. If there is any experienced parents, who's got their child who's 16, 17, how has their journey been? So currently, the one thing that I'm sure is that I want to homeschool him because, I want him to do other activities and cut down his studies for like 2 hours, 3 hours a day. That is it. So I would just like to know the journey of a senior parent, if there's anyone.
One thing I can tell you, there are no senior parents. Every day is new in parenting. Every challenge is new. Every child is very different. Every family is very different. So every journey is so beautifully different. Yes, and thank God for that. If all our journeys were like the same cookie cut, then what's the whole point, right? So yeah, so your question is great because that is what Aarohi community is all about. It's about connecting with different families because each one doing their journey in a very different way. So we all learn from each other and kind of support each other. So that's why we are in a community and not just doing it alone kind of thing. So yes, the question is very relevant. So whoever wants to respond to you, please go ahead, please respond. Whoever wants to share.
Actually, whenever I tell people that I'm going to be homeschooling my son, they don't have, major points to say, "Arey, homeschool kyun karwa rahe ho?" The only one point is, what about the social element? I'm like, let's see that we'll see with the journey. But the major concern is how the child is going to be social, how he's going to be with the other kids of his age. So that's my question.
Okay, so that's a more specific area. How do we get social exposure? Would anybody like to respond to that? Or if you also have similar question, you can say +1 to that, at least so we know, okay, more people are kind of thinking it. But if somebody wants to respond to that, please go ahead.
Okay, so even I've been homeschooling. I stay in Mumbai, and the first question is, "Arey Baba, wo socialize nahi karega, to she'll become an introvert. So how will she know how to talk when she grows up? So my basic answer to them is, in school they're not socializing. They're just sitting for their 30 minutes, getting bored. They get a 5-minute break, and then done, back to studies. In that 8 or 9 hours, they have certain activities they keep on doing. The interaction is not that much. The real interaction happens with your building kids or to any other classes that they're doing. So my child goes for 2 different classes and she has 1 online class, but she gets to interact over there with kids. It's got nothing to do. So a playground would have more interaction compared to a school, is what I feel. That's from my end.
+1 to that, and with that, I would also say that socializing is not restricted to children of same age group, right? When you are an open learner, everybody is your friend. For my 10-year-old daughter, Latnesh is also her friend, and I am also her friend. And a 2-year-old child is also her friend. So age is not a criteria for socializing. Yeah.
True.
And just to add to that, socializing is again an individual need. If I need to be social, or if it's my need that I feel that I need that kind of a company of people, I'll definitely look out for it and go for it and find ways for it. So we have seen siblings, or maybe there could be spouses. One spouse is living in the same setting is more social. Another spouse might not be that social. So it has nothing to do with schooling per se. It's an individual thing where I love to be social. I am social. That's it. And nothing wrong with not being social. I think being an introvert or whatever you call it, if person is in that zone where he's or she is satisfied or happy with what it is, I think the social thing is not necessarily required.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the box that we need to tick.
And also, I would add to it that different people have different social needs at different ages. Maybe some are very playful at very young age. go to anybody and everybody, but at an older age become little more withdrawn, more quieter, and some completely the opposite, and some become very so-called social at a much later age. So it really changes for everybody. Life is not a constant. It is not like that I filled myself this much socially, now I go on the road now. So and again, thank God, like Pranav mentioned, thank God everybody is not an extrovert. My goodness, the world will be difficult to live in. Yeah, I think open learning just yeah. Go. Sorry, somebody's saying something. I think okay. Let me.
Sorry, sir.
What I was
Sorry to
saying, that let's just, the whole idea is to just invite everybody to see, well, how do you want to lead your life? And that there are no one right way of living. We are all so different, and at different ages in different ways, and with different people. Maybe just one friend is enough for me to live my life, right? I don't need to be social. So yeah, absolutely. Please go ahead, Amit, you can add.
Yeah, so actually I'll be visiting in your center, your organization in April. And I just wanted to check with the senior parents. As you mentioned, there are no senior parents and they're all experienced ones. So with them, like, how is the cultural acceptance? Because for a kid, going to school, I mean, I'm a bit worried that if I take out her from the school and put there, so the social acceptance and if there is any discomfort or break of confidence on the kids, and if some of you can just share your experience on that.
Preeti wants to answer that. Go ahead, Preeti.
I'm not a senior parent, firstly, but I would like to share that that confidence part that you're saying. I feel, I don't know. I'm just sharing it absolutely by my experience with my daughter of 10-year-old. This is just straight example that I'm quoting from what I see at home. So she has been open learning since 3 years now, and she is an extremely social child. She socializes very like a lot. Then that part that you were asking, Amit, about losing confidence and stuff, right? That was your question, right? So recently, she goes for Malcolm, where she meets a lot of people, lot of her age group and all age groups, where they question her. They all the time they ask her, why you're not going to school? Oh, you're not going to school, so you don't have anything to do at home. So you must be just watching movies and stuff. And people compare her and do stuff with her. So that all happens. But what I have seen, she has become so strong that she knows how to handle herself and how to handle these comments. And she has honestly written one song right now. If like I have read that song and I was shaken, means I'm not saying this because she's my daughter, but the kind of words she has used, the way she has expressed herself in a song, means that has shown her maturity at 10 years of her age. So I don't know if I'm justifying to what your question is, but I feel that they become even more strong, and even they are life ready. They know how to deal with things when they are open learning and they are thrown into the water to swim.
Hi, this is Santosh here from Bangalore. I would just like to share my experience too. And this is the first year that I am homeschooling my daughter. She's 11 years old. Uh, I would agree with both, I think it was Yogita and Preeti. When Yogita said that, you can have more social life in the playground than in the classroom. And I completely agree with it, because I'm seeing that my daughter has opened up more and much more, social now, and talking easily to people of all ages. Probably it's the playground thing, it's a dance class thing, and other stuff. The second thing is the level of maturity which comes in a child. When she doesn't have the pressure of of a silos in schools, like, do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. So I agree with both of them. Homeschooling this is my experience from homeschooling, that it doesn't necessarily make you not social or weaker in any way, even in terms of academics or social life or other things.
I think Amit had one more question about how people react to this, and so I think Amit, basically the answer to that would be like it's as an individual choice. So choices that we make in our life are always questionable. Somebody, maybe some relative, some friend, somebody would probably point a finger of few things. Like if you are doing job and tomorrow you think of being an entrepreneur, there will be people who say why you are living stable job and secure job and getting into this competitive entrepreneurial kind of world. So that is a personal choice each one individual makes. So whether you want to be in India, you want to stay abroad, X, Y, Z, whatever. So whatever choices that we make is always open to some sort of scrutiny. But it's for us to kind of live our life and kind of take that call. The decision could be right or wrong in the maybe, but then that's how it is. So that's what life is.
What I would like to add also is that I've seen many children, almost thousands of children who have been open learning and schooling, and none of them have grown horns on their head. What I mean is that they are no different. Pretty much we are all same in that sense. We are all different, but we are all same, irrespective of whether we did schooling or whether we did unschooling or open learning or whatever we did. It doesn't really matter. We are just human beings, and we are of the same kind. And I think, yeah, people also, I don't see any issue with acceptance. In fact, in today's world, it's all the more people are like, wow, about it. And people, are more forthcoming to connect, to understand, to, I would even say value you, because see, you are working on yourself to grow. Nobody else is kind of, within quotes, feeding you. Meaning, I'm not saying others are not assisting you, but you know what I mean? So I think there's I have seen in many cases, there's a very kind of a respectful approach that people take. Just by the word, oh wow, meaning, you are doing this, oh wow. So whatever you have learned, you've kind of learned on your own, oh wow, kind of. So that's kind of the vibes a lot of people get in buses, in trains, in parties, anywhere and everywhere, including in interviews for internships and jobs. So that's where it even becomes more interesting, that okay, even in the industry is opening up to realizing that, oh, these individuals have taken their journey in their hands. So yeah, that's how I've experienced it.
Sir, I think
thanks for the inputs. I just say thank you for the inputs, and I mean, those queries are well answered. So one more query was,
you can call me, or
on the
you can just throw the group. Please don't call me sir, first of all, and don't just address me. Please throw the question to everybody. Let's see who can.
So the question was, if there is someone who are having kids who have either passed out or who have moved, who have been in this organization for long. So for the future roadmap, some success stories, that would help.
Right. So one of the, again, key difference in open learning is that there are no success stories. They are only living stories. Each one just lives the way they want to live. If you call that as success, then every story is success. But if you have some other definition, then you'll have to first share that definition and tell me, do you have a person who has, whatever, achieved a specific thing? And then I'll have to look into our list of people and tell you if there is an example like that. Otherwise, I guess there is no definition of success, and each one is just living their life. And that's how open learners are. And that is why they don't stop open learning. There's no passing out. I would say passing out is at the deathbed, right? Before that, you just live your life. You're open learner throughout your life. You keep learning different things. Yeah. Sorry, somebody else wanted to share something for the previous point, I think.
Like you said, that people appreciate. So where I live in Mumbai. They think it's a great idea. Wow, you are homeschooling, so they'll listen to everything, and they're like, no, but still send him to school. So I think people like the idea, but they are not willing to take. So if I have told this to 100 people that I'm going to be homeschooling my son, 99 people have told me, no, acha idea, but send him to school. So
Sure,
the
sure.
success story is not somebody who's I just, is there no regret? I just want to know that how is the journey of the parents been? Are they satisfied? Are the children satisfied? Because we get a lot of negativity around us. A lot of people are like, "Arey, tu kya kar rahi hai? What are you doing with your child? You live in Bombay, itna scope hai," but they like the idea, but they don't want to
Sure.
they
Sure.
don't want you to take that step.
So if you want to get a pat on your back, then that also you get. Parents do get pat on their back. Wow, you're doing something great.
That I do to myself, but I just want to know that, is there anything that you regret about homeschooling? Is there anything where you feel, okay, yahan pe, the shortcoming is over here?
So I just wanted to add to actually her question. So my son is currently going to a traditional school, and we've had the meeting with the teachers, and they say they are not equipped, to handle him. It's better if we send him to a special school, and he's not even, identified as autistic or anything. But what is his flaw? His flaw is that he just doesn't sit at one place. He wants to move around. He wants to play with toys, and probably he'll not write. When you ask him to write, he'll not read when you ask him to read. So that's where somewhere I am thinking of homeschooling, because he started talking late, but whatever he talks is mostly like, "Arey, don't do this, don't do that." Like, there has been so much of negative talk that's being fed in, that don't do this, don't do that, that's okay, that's not okay. And somewhere I'm feeling that pushing him into traditional schooling, am I doing it right, or should I look at open learning? Maybe he's wired in a way that maybe open learning might help him. So, and I'm also in Mumbai, so the brand consciousness is a big deal in Mumbai, if you see here. So taking some decision like this will create a lot of havoc in the mind of grandparents also, not just it's first convincing your spouse and then the extended family. So it's a journey for the parent also, first to undertake and then support the child. So yeah, any experiences on that front will also help to relate.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We're talking about regrets, mistakes, and I think Vijay has already said that. Oh my, yeah. So, well, I would say personally, I would say that regrets, problems, challenges, ups and downs, these are, as Vijay is saying, part of life, and it isn't about them that we are at any stage worried or even kind of think about them, because we are together. The key word I would say is always co-creation or co-doing or co-living. We if when a family and if you ask me, a larger community is together, then we are all co-passengers. Yeah, then we are all the time sharing, helping, supporting, value adding, pulling, pushing, fighting, teasing, troubling, doing all the spices in life, but we are together. And that togetherness is the real fun. And obviously the core togetherness starts with the family itself. It's no more two parents and one child. It's three learners in a family. Or if there are two children, then there are four learners. If there are two grandparents, then there are six learners in the family. Sorry?
Same thing I was saying, grandparents also.
Yeah, grandparents. So you see, the moment we start looking at first the family as co-passengers or co-learners, and every day, every thought is co-created, then there is no late Shruti, then there is no early. right? Who says there is something called as a late speech and a late learner and a slow learner and a fast learner and a fidgety learner? I'm all of these, right? And many, many more things in me if you want to throw labels at me. Okay. And when I have all the labels that can be thrown in the world with me, then who am I to throw the labels at anybody else and say it has to be like this way, right? So we are all perfectly imperfect, and we are enjoying the perfectly imperfect life that we are living with all possible things that is happening in our life. And the togetherness, the support is not support as in not supporting in that sense, but I would say, yeah, that the co-creation, the value of coming together, discussing. Dviji, saying late is only when it appears before your name. Absolutely, Dviji. Thank you. 3 cheers for that thought. Otherwise, I'm just saying that that is what open learning embraces. It is not about putting people under any kind of adjectives and labels and stuff like that. It's just about living our life the way we are and the way we are want to live with the world, whether it's social, unsocial, regret, no regret, or whatever it is. And it is for that joy that we are living, right? So that's the whole idea. It isn't about this versus schooling. I often say when people talk about open learning that if you are comparing open learning with schooling, then that's not a fair comparison. What is really the comparison is that is versus any other way of living. How do I want to live? I think that's the question that should be asked, because that is the whole idea. The whole idea isn't to just add a certain number of knowledge pages or a certain number of degrees into our cupboards. The idea is to be doing, learning whatever we want to learn. Yeah, like people are saying, oh, you put a how will your child learn? 3.5-year-old learn this or learn that? I'm sure you're thrown those kind of questions. And I always start with the question, why does he need to learn all that? Let's say if the people will ask, how will he learn mathematics? And I'll say, why does he need to learn mathematics? Oh, how will he learn how to read? I'll say, why does he need to learn how to read? How many people read and how many people watch videos in today's world? You see, we are asking questions because we are trained to think that way, that, okay, this has to come first, but that's not true. Reading can come at any point of time. My son started reading at 8 years. And he's a voracious reader now. He's 18 now. By 10, he was a voracious reader, but he started reading only at 8. So I think these milestones and this all are already created because there is a map drawn already. But when we step out of those boxes, then everything else just becomes part of life, and different people using different ways, learning different things, doing different things, and reaching even their professional levels or whatever levels they want to reach in their own ways, even choosing their life decisions in a different way. So the invitation is, let's look at how we want to live, and living kind of then becomes synonymous. And which is what I see around me. There's so many children, even today in campus, and also adults, and each one of them is doing so many different things. And I said, wow, it's so amazing. And in every child, I see that amazingness. So I I don't really know which child are we talking about, other than amazing kids and amazing adults, I would say.
Yeah, can I come in?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sorry, I've been coming in so many times. The point I was asking was for the success story was probably misinterpreted. It was not a question for a success story. It was more for that from the kids, because most of the people who are on the forum are of around 10 or 9 or 8, 11 years of kids, parents of kids of those years. But from whatever has happened so far, if you can showcase, or if you can just somewhere tell us that kids who have passed out and who have moved out and how they have achieved their uh, uh, aspirations in life, obviously not in the forums which you think of engineering or MBBS or something, but in other forums of life, how they have carried forward and how they have achieved something. So that would be a lot of help and give a lot of confidence to all the parents.
Yeah, Amit, 6 to 7. We will definitely, we have a guest, Misha herself, who is 17, so she can be talking about how she has done her journey till now, right? So we'll talk a little more about that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and just to add, Amit, why are you kind of stuck to the idea of passing out and then they have done something? The child is already, my daughter is 10-year-old. She has already conducted a workshop. She has earned 1,000 rupees out of that. So if that is some benchmark, I don't know if that's the way we look at it. But why are we looking at a particular age or particular milestone post which if there is somebody has achieved something in the journey itself? If there is a need to earn or if there is a need to whatever, I don't know what's the point of success story here, but it's happening so that the
थोड़ा
child
सा
can do
काटे
at
तो
any age. Yeah.
No,
I
actually,
hope
see, if I give it back to you, so
ठीक है
actually, me and my
जा
wife both are engineers and we're working in some executive levels at some private corporates. So it's a big switch for us. So while we are planning for this switch, so just wanted to gather, that I know that she would not follow the mainstream line. I accept that and I acknowledge that. That's the reason I'm here.
That's welcome. You're welcome, Amit. That's the point. Well, idea is we are stuck to certain norms by which we
But just
live.
wanted to know.
Yeah, go ahead, Amit.
Yeah, I think
So
your
that was the
voice
point.
was
So,
little breaking. Yeah.
as you rightly said, we live. Yeah. So as you said, we live by some norms, and I'm sorry for the prejudice on this. That yes, we live by some norms. Both of us are engineers, and we have been in a corporate firm with some successful life. And I understand that my kid needs an alternate education now. So I'm looking for some alternate educations forums. Looking at your organization setup also. And that's the reason I was checking that, I understand that she would not be in the mainstream, but then wanted to hear out that, yes, there are kids passing out from this environment, from this organization who have on a different, outside the mainstream, they have been a successful life or they have got something. I mean, that would give me a confidence and uh, I would not say confidence, but that would give me uh, more of some support, which I'm looking forward because I'll be visiting a center in April. Uh, so I'm just looking forward to that.
Sure, Amit. I think that's a wonderful way to understand open learning is, as Pranav is saying, not by age or not passing out in any which way, but by interacting and meeting more families. So you're most welcome, and all families are most welcome to connect with different Aarohi families. You don't only have to come to campus. There are families in different parts of the country, and you can meet them with wherever you are. And if there are families in your city, or you can travel and meet different families. I think that's the best way to really understand that it's about the here and now, and not so much about some future design. And the comfort comes from meeting more people. At least that's how we have experiences. The more we interact with different people who are doing this, whether it gives comfort or whether it gives ideas and whether it gives more understanding, that's your choice, or maybe a combination of all of these, but that's what it does. And yeah, so Aarohi campus is one place, more Aarohi families is another place, more families in your city who would be doing open learning, unschooling, homeschooling, need not be part of Aarohi is another place. Please interact more with more people, and then I guess that would help you understand it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I hope I have not been not offended you.
Oh, no, not at all. Please don't bother at all. There is no offense in any which case, and in any which way. Yeah. Yeah. Any more thoughts? Because we have about 9 minutes before we invite Misha into this discussion and for her to share her journey, and then we can have question answers about Coversity.
I actually just wanted to know what are the main things you would suggest as a parent who's been in homes or open learning or homeschooling for so long. What are the personal traits that a child should imbibe during this journey, to help them further in life, apart from being, persistent? What other things would you suggest that we can probably help them, with?
Sorry, Yogita, I don't have a list like that. I would just say, each one, I would ask each child this question: what is it that you would like to develop in you in the, let's say, in the next one day or 1 week or 1 month? Reminding them that all of these qualities are already in them. They're already persistent, they're already problem solvers, they're already thinkers, decision makers, emotionally everything, emotionally competent, everything is there in us. Which one would they like to work on more? I would like to ask them this question on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And I would like to ask this question to myself, that at this age, which of these would I like to develop in myself? Because it is not that I am better than them in any which way, right? So so then I become a learner and they become a learner. And then when I see them doing what, suppose a child says, uncle, I want to be more focused, let's say. And I say, okay, I want to be more, let's say, aware, let's say. So when I see him being focused or her being focused, I can point out, hey, you're being focused right now. Look, cool. You were talking about being focused. And he can point out to me and say, hey, Ratnesh, here, nobody really calls me much more than Ratnesh or Rat. So they'll say, hey, Rat, you are being aware of what you are doing. So it becomes a beautiful together journey to explore our own personal traits. Yeah, because again, there is no perfect set of traits. There is no perfect me. And at every age, we can look at what do we want to do or what do we want to focus on today. But that's a beautiful question, because we just realize with your question that the personal traits, as you call them, is equally important as opposed to just the skills or the so-called work skills or domain skills. Yeah. So yeah, that's the way it becomes very beautiful in Open Journey, when we all together do whatever, work on our own personal self. Did that answer your question? I don't know, but yeah. So there's no list. At least I don't have a list, and I will invite everybody to have their own personal list, not for each other, but for yourself.
No, as a seasoned parent, what are the things you feel that you've noticed till now, or maybe any of the other panelists or any of the
Not me.
others attending?
Sure.
Okay.
Maybe more seasoned people can share. In my seasoning, every season is just different. Every day is different.
Okay.
And there's no one list. I only live out of different lists every day.
Okay. Okay. Ability to think. Okay.
Yeah. So Santosh is sharing one which he values. So that's exactly what I'm saying. Each one can have a different list. Okay. And yeah, and then we can see. But I would still say I would have a list for myself, and I'll invite the individual to let's say if it's my child, I will invite my child to say, hello, which one would you like to work on? This is what I am working on, rather than saying you should develop that. Then it becomes that I know better. Well, that's one approach. There's nothing wrong with that, but I would say we can discuss which one who wants to develop.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, on chat, I think Santosh and Duji have been having an interesting discussion about open learning being challenging. And I say, yeah, it has to be challenging. If it is not challenging, what's the point? Right? We are enjoying it because there is a challenge, isn't it? If there is no challenge, then there is little growth. If the player opposite to me, if I'm playing, let's say, badminton, is not challenging me, then there is no fun in playing. So it's like the same with life, I guess, Santosh. So yeah, I hope
it absolutely means that there is no thrilling if there is no challenge.
yes. Okay, we can take one last
one more
question.
thing, sir.
Yeah, please.
Ratnesh, can I speak in Kannada if you don't mind?
Only thing is, many parents would not know Kannada here, so it would help if you can share in English. Unless you want to share in Kannada and you want somebody else to translate. That's also okay. Can somebody translate Kannada in English if that is what you are looking for? If you prefer to speak in Kannada and then you want somebody to translate, we can do it that way.
Yeah, Vijay sir is going to translate, it seems.
Okay, cool.
ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನನ್ ಮಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪಾಲನೆ ಪೋಷಣೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸರಿಗೆ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಬೋದು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತಾಳೆ ಅವಳು ಓದ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ. ಸೊ ಅವಳನ್ನ ಅನ್ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅದು ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ ತಾಯಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ how to get rid of the confusion, that is the main thing.
I think we all got your question.
Like
right. You summarized it at the end. Beautiful. Yeah, sorry, we have only 1 minute, so if you want a response to that now, we'll have to pause with the question. So okay, so anybody who would like to respond to that? How to we'll all have confusions on all different aspects of learning.
Actually,
living.
she argues a lot, that is the thing. She, in her perspective, she tells it is correct. So how it is possible to mold her? Means, I know molding is a difficult task.
Ma'am, my wife also argues a lot with me. I don't know what to do.
Okay.
I cannot mold her. I'm the only one who can get molded. So
that is true.
Yeah. So okay. So in the interest of time, Usha, as I said earlier, I think I mentioned that the whole journey is of togetherness, which means there will be fights, there will be arguments, there will be discussions, there will be debates, there will be disagreements, just like in any Pranav mentioned marriage.
Yes, sir.
Open learning happens the same way. We all become co-partners, co-passengers, and there will be a lot of confusion, both not just for us, for the child. And again, to us, these are all spices of life: challenges, confusions, disagreements, arguments. This is what spices. This is what adds spice to our day-to-day life, and we welcome that. We to even say, if there is no spice happening, let's add some masala, right? So absolutely, that is the beauty of open learning. And I think in some way, Santosh already mentioned that it's a daily challenge. There will be differences, there will be between spouse differences and all kinds of things. So I guess that's the beauty of it. Okay, super. So let's let's